In the summer of 2023, something happened that military planners said was impossible. A Russian T-90 tank, the most advanced in their arsenal, cost $4.5 million. Crew, 3. Armor, designed to survive direct hits from other tanks, destroyed. Not by a Javelin missile. Not by artillery. Not by another tank. By something that cost less than the tank's radio. Something built in a garage. Something flown by a teenager. With a video game controller. This is the story of the FPV drone. And why it's changed warfare. More in 2 years than any weapon in the last 50. Here's the problem. For 100 years, armies have spent trillions of dollars solving one question. How do you cross open ground without dying? Machine guns made infantry charges suicide. Artillery made trenches death traps. The answer was the tank. Armor. Mobility. Firepower. Every major military on Earth built their doctrine around it. And in 18 months, a $500 drone made all of it obsolete. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how this happened. Why every general on Earth is losing sleep over it. And most importantly, what it means for the future of war. But before I show you the footage that changed everything, you need to understand one thing. Tanks were designed to fight other tanks. Every angle of armor, every system, every piece of technology, all of it built to survive one threat. A direct hit from another 70-ton beast. But here's what tank designers never considered. An attack from directly above. Let me tell you exactly what an FPV drone is. FPV stands for first-person view. The drone itself costs about the same as a PlayStation 5. It's made of carbon fiber for electric motors, a flight controller, a video transmitter, a camera. The kind of parts you can order on Amazon. Now, add one more thing. An RPG-7 warhead, attached with zip ties or duct tape. Total cost, $600. Total weight, less than 5 pounds. Total destructive power, enough to destroy a $4.5 million tank. And when this $600 weapon finds a tank, this wasn't a lucky shot. In the first 2 weeks of the counteroffensive, Ukraine lost 20% of its armored vehicles. Not to Russian tanks. Not to Russian helicopters. To FPV drones operated by soldiers who'd never flown anything before. February 2022. All of them stopped. Not by Russian tanks. Russian tank-on-tank kills accounted for less than 5% of losses. Not by Russian helicopters. Not by artillery. By FPV drones. Operated by soldiers who had never flown anything before February 2022. Soldiers who trained for 2 weeks. Not 2 years. 2 weeks. And here's the math that keeps Pentagon planners awake at night. For the cost of one Abrams tank, $10 million, you can field over 16,000 FPV drones. 16,000. Even if 99% of them fail, even if they get jammed, even if they get shot down, even if they miss, 1% get through. 1% of 16,000 is 160 drones. 160 drones mean 160 dead tanks. The United States has approximately 2,500 Abrams tanks in active service. You can do the math. But that's not even the most terrifying part. The drones I've described so far have one critical weakness. They need a human pilot. A human who can be jammed. A human whose video feed can be cut. A human who makes mistakes. What happens when you remove the human? This is not science fiction. In late 2023, Ukrainian forces began field testing a modified FPV drone. The modification was simple. An $80 computer vision chip. The kind used in security cameras to track movement. This chip does one thing. It locks onto a target and guides the drone to impact. No human in the loop. No video feed to jam. No pilot to suppress. The drone doesn't care about electronic warfare. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't hesitate. It doesn't feel fear. It sees a tank. It calculates an intercept course. And it strikes. One defense analyst who reviewed classified footage of these tests said, and I quote, "We have no answer for this. None." Speaking anonymously was more direct. The age of the tank is over. We just haven't admitted it yet. And if you think this only matters for tanks, you're missing the point entirely. The same economics apply to everything expensive that militaries rely on. Aircraft, ships, air defense systems, command centers, logistics hubs, anything large, anything expensive, anything that can't hide. A Patriot missile battery costs $1 billion. It can be attacked by 1,000 drones. That costs $600,000 total. The math is broken. And it's broken in favor of the attacker. For the first time in human history. But I want to pause the strategic analysis for a moment. Because there's another side to this story. A human side. The soldier operating an FPV drone is not a pilot. Not in the traditional sense. They didn't go through years of flight school. They didn't train in multi-million-dollar simulators. They're infantry, or artillery, or cooks, or mechanics. They fly from basements, from trenches, from the backs of pickup trucks. They wear goggles that show them exactly what the drone sees. And what the drone sees is war in high definition. Up close. Personal. When an FPV pilot strikes a tank, they don't see an explosion in the distance. They see the tank's hatch. They see the welds in the armor. They see the exact spot where their drone will hit. And then, in the final frame before impact, they sometimes see the crew. Veterans of previous wars talk about the distance of killing. Artillery crews never saw their targets. Pilots saw explosions from thousands of feet. Tank crews saw enemy vehicles, not the people inside them. FPV pilots see everything. In high definition. At point-blank range. And then the screen goes black. The psychological toll of this is only beginning to be understood. But early reports from Ukraine suggest it is devastating. Pilots who never leave a basement are experiencing PTSD rates comparable to infantry who fought in the streets of Fallujah. War has always been terrible. But it has rarely been this intimate. So, where does this leave us? The tank is not obsolete. Not yet. But its role has changed forever. It can no longer operate where drones exist. And drones are about to exist everywhere. Every military on Earth is scrambling to adapt. Active protection systems that shoot down incoming drones. Electronic warfare that jams their signals. Lasers. Microwave weapons. Drone-on-drone interceptors. But here's the problem none of them have solved. Defense is always more expensive than offense. A system that can reliably stop a $600 drone costs, at minimum, $50,000 per interception. The attacker can afford to lose 100 drones for every interceptor. The defender cannot afford to fire 100 interceptors. The era of the invincible armored column, tanks rolling across open ground, dominating everything in their path, that era ended in a muddy field in Ukraine. Ended by a $600 piece of carbon fiber with a grenade taped to it. Ended by a soldier in a basement with a video game controller. And the next era, the era of autonomous swarms, of AI-guided munitions, of warfare at the speed of silicon, that era is already here. We just haven't admitted it yet. 1. The FPV drone has changed warfare, more in 2 years than any weapon in the last 50. It has made the most expensive ground weapon system in history, the main battle tank, vulnerable to a weapon that costs less than a used car. 2. The economics are broken. Permanently. A $600 drone will always be cheaper than the $50,000 interceptor needed to stop it. This asymmetry favors the attacker, and it will for the foreseeable future. 3. The human cost is only beginning to be understood. FPV pilots experience war in high definition, up close, personal. The psychological toll is unprecedented. 4. The autonomous version is already here. Drones that don't need pilots. Drones that can't be jammed. Drones that don't hesitate. And we have no answer for them. None. The generals who are losing sleep over this, they're right to be afraid. Because the future of war looks nothing like the past. And we are not ready. If you want to understand what comes next, and specifically how the US military is scrambling to catch up, I've linked a video on the screen right now. It's about the Pentagon's secret drone defense program. The one thing they're betting billions on. And spoiler, it has its own massive problem. Tap the video now, or I'll link it in the description below. If you found this valuable, hit subscribe. I release deep dives like this every week, on the technologies reshaping warfare. The weapons, the tactics, the implications. Military, geopolitics, history, future. Everything you need to understand the future of conflict. And if you've served, if you've operated drones, if you've been on the receiving end, or if you just think I got something wrong, drop it in the comments. I read every single one. Your perspective matters, especially on a topic this important. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.